Jack Ma. What makes this dialogue very special? Because we have so much expectation from the audience. The second reason by our statistics or made by our colleagues. And this is a nice time that we have such a dialogue. So big welcome to our Jack Ma. Thank you for joining us. In these days, I know that you have aroused high attention from the media. And the two words, we can describe it, and we can check what the two words are, because you have declared, yes, it's true, and you retired. It is such a big breaking news. And why did you choose on September 10th on your birthday, 50, and it's not 60, and you decided to leave this position? Originally, because I left university at the age of 30. Together with the president of university and the leaders, I said I will come back in 10 years. I naively believed that I can return to the university at the age of 40, but at the age of 40, it was not possible because there was no clear direction of my company. Therefore, at the age of 45, I had a plan in my mind. I want to get retired at the age of 50, but I can't do that. I believe that before 55, I must do it. So it took me 10 years. So September 10th, I declared I will no longer be the board chairman, and I left the management of Ali Group, which was decision was made 3 years ago. So it was a gradual decision-making process. It is not something appeared in my mind all of a sudden, which was not responsible for myself, for my company as well. So it takes me a lot of time for the preparation. Understood. We still feel very curious. How about you retire after 2 years or 2 years ahead of this time? And what might be difference to you and to your company? If 2 years ago I was not ready, the company was not ready either. After 2 years, maybe I will not want to leave because of very strong emotion bond. Well, we need to think about several questions. It's not that company can't leave you. Instead, it's you can't leave your company. You don't know what to do. You are at a loss. At the age of 54, just 54 years old. I think that in internet, I am a little bit older, but it's still young for other industries or business. Maybe after another 15 to 16 years, I can do something else. But once after 55 to 56 or even 60 years old, people have a habit. You try to cling to something. You have no guarantee to the future. You have to stay with your office. Therefore, beyond 56, people say, okay, company can't live without you. Organization can't live without you. Instead, it's not the company. It's you who cannot leave the company. We must know ourselves what you can do, what you can't do. And what is the ultimate goal of your life. And we often say that we know of life at the age of 50. Beyond 50, we should get clear what we want. Exactly what we need to get, what we need to give up. What is something you should own, something you don't. Once these things are clear in your mind, it's not difficult or trouble to make such a decision. And it is surprising to us, at least to our view. You choose to retire at the age of 54, which is believed to be young. Look at your friends within your community, no matter it's Ren Zhengfei or Mr. Zhang Ruiming, and even 20 years older than you, they are still fighting in the business cycle. Mr. Cao Dewang several days ago decided to declare retirement in September, but he said he made a new a statement that decided to delay his retirement. So do you think your decision, do you feel it is a tiring decision? Anyway, I think I'm quite good. I'm quite good with my position, with my decision. And many people think that, okay, they may think about the same question in their mind at the age of 54. I keep mention this, I don't want to die in my office. And if I can die on the sea, along the seaside and on the sand, I will feel very, very, very happy. I prefer dying on the beach. And I'm here not to for the career. You are born to experience, to try different things, to enjoy your life. I should say that I used to be a teacher, so it's quite at least I was not trained a business people, and with the social trend and the guarantee of the team, I had a very good luck. But good luck can't be with you all the time. We need to extend the luck. If you want to do so, you need to offer the opportunities to other people. You need to offer more opportunities to others, which means you give yourself more chances. You know that in the future, I believe it will be very good. And a lot of things I show great interest in the past 20 years. Actually, I feel pity I did not have the time and capability of doing so. But today, I have time, I have the opportunity, I'm capable of developing these new things. I really want to show this to the business sectors. You know that in China, in Asia actually, and never saying giving up, and keep working and fighting for the age of 80 or 90 years old, I don't think it is necessary. Look at the other countries. You know that the entrepreneurs, the startup company owners are very old, have white hairs, but it's kind of a step back from this strong wave. I should say that in this strong trend in the times, and I try to take steps forward. And I don't think it's a step backward. And by my own personality, I will have no rest. And even though I retire from my company, but it's a big step in my life, I have more time to do something I show great interest in, such as education, environment, start-up entrepreneurship, especially in the entrepreneurship spirit. I used to look down upon the business people. And after 20 years of running on my own economy, a great contributor to the country. And we would say that strong military countries are powerful, but I believe that good business, good economy will make a country very powerful, and a good understanding of the business and the business people, and a good understanding of the economy, which are highly important. And after 20 years, and we can have a very objective understanding and try to spread out that message to the society. Well, after your declaration of your retirement, a lot of guesses on you. You know what is the most absurd or the worst expectation on your retirement? Do you want to make it clarify here? Well, we have a lot of speculations and guesses in the market. There are so many guesses and speculations, and I should say that entrepreneurs and if you try new things, you keep experimenting, and some gossips and rumors, setbacks and sufferings are all along with the journey. Therefore, people like myself, we need to learn to try to swim and survive in the ocean of gossips. How is your swimming in such a wave? Do you think it is good? Well, I try to keep my head above the sea level, and we sometimes we feel sad, we feel frustrated. My family members do not like it. All kinds of rumors. Yesterday evening, I received a lot of messages from the entrepreneurs, my friends, and they say that there are a lot of rumors because you shifted 120 billion RMB to other countries, so you are ready to run away. People laugh, right? You have the concern, you have the worry. Well, so we have different angles looking at the same problems. We have different understanding of it from different angles. If you want to cope with it, it makes you very tired. If they are friends of you, you don't need to explain. If they are not your friends, the more you say, the worse the case is. I think that we need to learn to swim in the ocean of gossips. Just now, we proposed the first question on why you decided to choose retire on the age of 54. The second question comes up, why you choose Zhang Yong. And in your hearts, so is he consistently the right candidate? This is a good question. In the development of Ali Group, For so many years, I keep asking myself this question: why Ali Group always has this right luck and fortune? Because we really want to drive the social progress, and we are inspired to enable the small business on our platform. We also want to grow our employees in their career path. And those who didn't learn MBA or commercial or business series, why we can develop to this far, because I used to be a teacher. I didn't know marketing, and I had no idea of technology. I at a loss at my financial accounts, and the only thing make my into a successful businessman is my teaching background. I choose my students, I train my students, I cultivate my students, and the most of my time was spent on identify the talents, train them, and cultivate them in Ali Group. My top pride was not our business model. Instead, today, our hierarchy of our talents, the organizational structure, the culture development, we have developed a group of them. And in the year of 2000, we, you know that it was the bubble of the internet, and you develop the e-commerce in that kind of time. People think it was not a good company, and I said that in Ali Group, in the future, we'll have a lot of good talents, good-looking girls and good-looking gentlemen, and with skills, and we really want to have that talent several years ago. But now, I believe the building of the hierarchy is so good, and Zhang Yong, and in our talent hierarchy, is one of the top leaders. I believe we have very good talents, and if I think we already have the fifth generation of the candidates leaders in the preparation, in the pipeline, and only when the predecessors are ready, and I believe it is possible. And Zhang Yong is not works on his own; he also has his own team. I want to draw your attention to this. And the team is different from teamwork. You know that in China, we used to emphasize the group interest, but the team is a different concept. The team means you are supplementary to each other. You want to support others' success. Why we can make success today is not my own success, it's my team's success. I have a good team. I have Zhang Yong, I have Jing Xiandong, and Mr. Cai Chongxing, and also Peng Lei. I have a very strong lineup of talents behind and next to me, and Zhang Yong, behind Zhang Yong, there's also a strong lineup of the talents, but they have different skills. But among these skills, Zhang Yong has something I don't have, such as systematic thinking, sober mind. You know that startup entrepreneurs have a great anger sometimes. Sometimes we can't curb our temper, but in such a time, such an age, we need to have a systematic logic thinking, and it's my advantage is something not owned by Zhang Yong, but Zhang Yong has strengths which is above us in, and especially when company is such a large one, we need a systematic, organized, plus very strong leadership and a strong sense of responsibility. So in this aspect, Zhang Yong is the right candidate. In Zhang Yong, we see something very special at his position of CFO, and he was fabulous. And you said that, I fear nothing. I just fear CFO become CEO. If you review this, what you said, it is you change your mind or Mr. Zhang Yong changes. I think both of us are changing. And in the past, I was the experience was quite interesting. And I think 3 types of people within the company, I said that we will not promote them. I said that at Ali Group, we have 18 founding partners, and we can't take up the senior executive positions because we are very weak in our capabilities. They used to be our students who cannot find work in the past. And the 18 people were now in the media proved to be very strong. But 20 years ago, and that if they want to interview with the Ali Group, they cannot get included. And I always believe that the external staff are more, the external candidates are stronger than us. However, we find out the newly recruited people sometimes do not have the persistence, do not believe in the future, and these 18 people keep working consistently. We find out that after several rounds of experiences as well as the tests, and just like the farmers raise the cows, and the cows growing quickly. And the 18 people, you know that so we have a strong will. We have strong will because we experience all kinds of ups and downs. You know, the newcomers are stronger than us in their knowledge, capabilities, and skills. Once we give them time, they will give us a new success. And the 18 fund partners know, Chinese know, NBA know, and the Taiwan people know. Why Taiwan people know? So it's a kind of prejudice against them. And the Taiwan people, they tell jokes, they bold jokes, they do nothing. And the CFO, Cai Chongqing, is from Taiwan. You know, he has a really sober mind. So I take it away. I change my mind. Shanghainese, who wishes to become a professional managers. And I do not like them. I do not like this position because in a company, we need a leader. We do not want to follow the procedures. If we follow the procedures, why do we need you? Why do we need you as a manager? We need to have process, and also in parallel to process, we are ready to take bold steps. Mr. Zhang Yong is Shanghainese. He is also a professional manager. Well, so you choose him to correct your view several years ago. CFO is a very interesting position. I believe that he has a risk mindset to take the most safe path, which is the first guarantee of a good and qualified CFO. In decision making, CFO would choose the most safe way. But in the past decades development of Ali Group, every time we made a decision, we made decision among so many risks. So CFO could not become our CEO, and actually, a very top CFO, maybe it's difficult for him to become a CEO, but Mr. Zhang Yong and Jing Xiandong, and the one is the chairman of Ant Financial Service Group. The other one is the CFO of Ali Group. Both of them are bold enough to take steps. They want to change themselves. They dare to do so. And my progress in recent years are very evident. Some of my views are changed because we find them is not correct. And that's why I said I was making progress. And Mr. Zhang is also working out of his own circle as a CFO. So both of you are changing. And in Mr. Zhang Yong, you do see the qualification as a CEO for Ali Group. How about the feeling of Zhang Yong in the past 11 years? He lived in hotels, you know. Again, you give the extra burden to him. He cannot go back to his home for rest. Well, in order to persuade him to become the board chairman, in the recent 2 years, whenever I have a moment, I will try to persuade him. And the day he agreed, I feel so much touched. I know that to become the Ali Group board chairman was a difficult decision. It's no longer a commercial decision. It was not only a business decision, such a big organization. The sophistication of the business is out of the expectation. The scale of our group is so enormous in China, especially we are driven by our vision and mission. And that is to make the business facilitated in the earth. You know, this is something we often think about, which is not thought about by other companies. You might have a sleepless nights. You have no time for sleep. And he has this he promised to do so. And what if he has some problem and he cannot want to do it? Will you come back? I said, if he can't do that, that's it. I will not come back because I don't think I'm leaving anyway. Retirement doesn't mean that I leave Ali Group. Upon the call of Ali Group, I will respond to it, but I will not do as a board chairman or as a CEO. I'm a shareholder of Ali Group. I'm the partner to this organization. I am a permanent employee of Ali Group. I also talk about it internally. If you are an employee of Ali Group, your time belongs to Ali Group. You know, as an average employee, 12 hours of the day belong to Ali Group. If you are director or the VP, 24 hours belong to Ali Group. If you are the partner, your life belongs to Ali Group, even if you leave. And this is, we agreed. And so it's no concept of leaving.
是的， But being a CEO or a chairman, you basically, like for a country, have a military power. But for me, I don't want that anymore. If I go back upon the call, then perhaps I'm very happy to give my advice, but I will not return to the chairman position. Now, if you look at back in the history, many founders said they would retire, but when emergencies arise, they would go back to the frontier line. Do you think that will happen to you in the future? As although you said you won't, but do you think it's possible? Well, it is. Troubling. That's why I've been preparing for this for the past several years. I believe that founders are like parents to a kid. Now, if your child grows up, maybe you are very helpful in a primary when he's in the primary school. But when the kid goes to the university, you as a parent can't help much. You need to push him to the real reality, to expose him to all the realities, challenges in his life. Now, when there's challenge, you as a parent, you will be there to support him or her, but you can't make all the decisions for your child. That's the same thing here with Alibaba. We are here so that we want to prevent crisis from happening. We have daily operations and communication. So for Daniel Zhang, for Mr. Jin, we talk on a constant basis. We basically like consultants. We're very happy to give our advice, but we do not plan. I do not plan to go back and take the decision in the future, because I've planned for my next 15 years what other kids I would have. Maybe these kids, they are younger, so they need me more. And for Alibaba, it has an ecosystem. It's a system. It's got its own way of doing business. So that's why I have a plan for not coming back. But that's because to some reason I don't plan to leave at all, because I'm always with Alibaba. When there's problem, I'm very happy to talk, but they will take the decision, not me. If, for example, if I don't care about Alibaba, if you say that, I don't think that's true. Nobody will believe that. I love deeply Alibaba because it's my own kid. Even if I dies someday, I still love it deeply. In my 80s or 90s, maybe I'm on the beach, I listen to the radio and the news says that Alibaba does wonderfully. I will be profoundly happy because I've devoted the best 10 years and 20 years of my life to the group. And this is a kid I brought up 15 years ago. Until this day, maybe way in the future, I will be very happy that it's successful. I understand that you've been preparing for this for the past 10 years, but I think the market is not ready. Now, as you said, when you announced that you plan to retire, the share price went down for 3.7%, I think, 15.5 billion market valuation. The market is not very happy or confident or fully prepared for Alibaba without Jack Ma. So with that, have you talked with Daniel on this? I talk to him every day, but we haven't really mentioned this very much. Of course, if everybody quickly get used to me not being in Alibaba, then there will be problem. It means that I'm not that important. Now, if you are not in Alibaba, how do you why do you get a salary? So what I mean is that of course have value in Alibaba. It's like, again, a kid. You breastfeed your child, and then you will switch to formula. So in this transition, of course there will be discomfort, but after a while the kid will be okay. So I think for a short period of time you need to get used to this with some pain and discomfort, but then the market, after a while, the company, everybody will get used to it. It's not that once the baby is crying, you will give him or her whatever he wants. That's not the way out. Very well. So, as you said, on the market's feedback to you during your talk, you will have your feedback. You will react to that in your own way. I talked to you in a back room that, for example, the WAIC and the Yunxi conference, and including this conference, and for the past several days, aside from going to these conferences, it also introduced Pingtouge. That is the Chinese nickname for honey badger. This is perhaps the first time for many people to hear about this animal. So why do you plan to have a IC chip company? Well, for this company, it does not need to find its own mission. Its corporate culture, structure is quite there. But the thing for it is that you need to innovate. You need to change yourself according to the changing environment. So what you said is right. Because in the past several days, I get even busier, including the heads of states and governments of other countries. They called me trying to find out what's going on, and all of them are very happy. For example, King or retired former presidents, and after they hear that I'm doing charity work, they're very happy. They think that together we can do something nice. So I'm very happy that I've got friends who care about me. And there are also suspicion, as you said, because they say that because you want to go to abroad because of the pressure, maybe the economy is not going well. These are all suspicions. So for right now, the priority is for the stable development of the group. I've got good teamwork, good talents. I will enhance consolidate the corporate culture, the structure. This is the first. Second, I need to find something that of my own. As you said, the IC chip company, I announced this today, which means that, of course, we've been preparing below this. We've been preparing for this for 5 years. It is not that we have a problem now and then set up a company. Things are not done in this way. I announced today. It means that I've been preparing this for the previous several years. And the Jack Ma Foundation is here for 5 years. 5 years ago, we started to do our work. So every step in the past several years, we've been planning for the future. So for any company, if you do not plan for the future, you will be more and more exhausted. You are solving problems of today, and then you'll have new problems tomorrow. So you need to think ahead. You need to anticipate of the 10 problems in the future. You can detect and solve 7 problems, then maybe you will have a better future. So for me, along that logic, I think the culture of Alibaba is that we live for the future, we live for the belief. Because we believe in the future, we can see how the future will form. This is the very culture of our group. Now, you mentioned believing, you mentioned anticipating. We're looking at the economic outlook. Many entrepreneurs are now under great pressure. They want to know the outlook for future. So what do you think the economic outlook, and for entrepreneurs, what do they need to do now? Being an entrepreneur, in my experience, the economic outlook is always problematic for us. For example, if you look at the past 40 years of the government economic conference, every year it will say that we've got complex and problematic economic outlook. It's always there, this sentence, because if the outlook is good, then the competition will be awfully fierce. If the economic outlook is not perfect, then you will have good competition. So there's two sides of everything. Now, if the outlook is problematic, then it means this is the right timing to have a great company. When everything's fine, then you'll have mediocre companies. But when you have headwinds, and if a company can live, then this is a great company. Now, for many companies, you've got scale right now. And for any of those, they must have weathered economic problems, natural disasters, man-made disasters, and it is only after a company overcomes all these problems, then it becomes greater and greater. So the resilience of companies is very much. It's like a boxer. You need to be have offensive power, but you also need to defend yourself to weather all the problems along the way. If you look at Alibaba, from our perspective, we know for a fact that we are under blow for a lot of times, more than other company, I would think. So the economic outlook, it's not perfect, of course, and it will last longer than many people expect. But we need to think about it. We need to plan ahead. And we need to plan everything in a worse scenario than the reality. Being confident means that I don't think blindly if the future is perfect, but we can still live in a not perfect future. Now, on manufacturing, you said in 15 years' time, they will have more problems. Technological innovation, China-US trade frictions, and transformation and upgrading of our economic structure, and your internal and external pressure of companies, all these things, and including all the changing landscape in the world, they are all there. So I think the outlook, as I said, is not perfect and will not be perfect. But even with not perfect outlook, you'll have great companies. Even with a perfect outlook, you'll have lousy companies. So the thing is about your perspective. You need to do the right thing in the right time. Yesterday, I went to the Entrepreneurs Club's meeting and also the Zhejiang Merchants Business Association. Last year, I talked to the entrepreneurs. I said, in the next several years, you don't need to do a lot of things, but you need to do something right and something that make you happy. That's exactly what I mean about the outlook. If you have, in whatever you are doing, you don't only focus on the low-hanging fruit. I was in Yunqi conference yesterday. I talked to many entrepreneurs about a story. 3 kids out in a storm, and the father said, "You brought something back out of." And for the elderly kid, he was equipped, and the second one he had an umbrella, and the third one he had nothing. But for the first kid, they all hurt themselves in some way. But the third kid, he didn't equip himself with Macintosh or umbrella, but he brought the thing back. So for the first kid, he was avoiding all the storm, and for the second kid too. But for the third kid, he said, I found a cave and I stayed there for some time, and the storm would pass, and then I would bring the thing back. So that's the same logic. As I said, in a bad time, you can still do the right things, and a good time, you can still do the good things. You can still succeed. We're not happy with the US-China trade frictions, but on this, as I said, you need to plan for the next 20 years. Whatever the US would do, we will have our own solutions based on our principles. No matter what you say, how angry you are, Mr. President Trump doesn't know about that. So what you can do, what you can change is the things you plan and you choose to do. Of course, you're in a lousy outlook. That is possible. But that's the same case for your competitors as well. You have financing problems. It's the same case with your competitors. So as I said, you don't need to do a zillion things, but you need to do something right. So for Jack Ma, what will you plan to do in the future? This is something that we have all been talking about. In your open letter after you released it, and online there's a online business card of Jack Ma. That is a summary of what you wrote in priority order. So aside from your name and also the title teacher, under that you'll have some other titles. I will read it out for you. The first one is a man from Zhejiang and the first employee of Alibaba, partner of Alibaba, and the first charitable worker of Alibaba, poverty alleviation foundation founder, all of these titles. So you can see that a lot of things are still related to Alibaba and charity work. If I ask you to design your own business card, what will you write? It makes me sort of sad because my name Jack Ma looks like IP. It doesn't belong to me at the first place. Because when I mention Jack Ma, you've got your own definition of Jack Ma, but that's not me entirely. For me, I'm still an ordinary person who was born and raised in Hangzhou. I became an entrepreneur in Hangzhou. I don't think I'm legendary or someone of significance, or I created some this and that. It's not entirely me. So I'm sure there are many labels, but for me, I think as an ordinary person, I'm very lucky. In the past several years, I chose the right time and right friends, and together with a lot of hard work, after 20 years, we arrived at where we are right now. But we understand from deep down that with Alibaba, its relations with Jack Ma is there, but it's not that close. So for me, I still need to be me. To do the things I like. You mentioned Pingtouge, the chip company, the honey badger. After I named this company Pingtouge, a friend next to me said that you are a honey badger indeed. And the reason I'm fascinated about this animal is that this fearless. He doesn't care, this animal. He doesn't care who my opponent is. Just give me the time and location, I will be there and I'll fight him no matter what. So this is like us, like me in the past 20 years. And this is the spirit, the value you should have deep rooted in an entrepreneur, and also the team. Of course, you will be a brilliant person, but that's what you have, and that's all. But with a team, you can do much better, something much bigger. So if you're asking me about my own business card, I will still write education on it. By educating, I can reflect my understanding of life, my life philosophy. I can reflect all the interesting things I've met in the past 20 years, all the interesting persons, significant people. For example, the founder of Davos, Professor Schwab. After so many years of perseverance, building a magnificent platform, I met Obama, Putin, and Chinese leaders, and a lot of fascinating entrepreneurs, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and so on and so forth, and also very eccentric people. There are plenty of them. And also Mr. Wang Ling, Li Yi, I've met with them, talked with them. So for me, living here on this planet is an opportunity for me to know these people, to know these brilliant people of all varieties, good people, bad people, great people. And that is my nutrition. And as a teacher, I can think about it, why these people appear in our history. And I want to share this with more people. For my university and entrepreneurs in my university, the reason we're there is that we need to know about other people, but more importantly, we need to know about ourselves. We need to know how imperative it is to learn from the great people. And also, you can't be devastated because of the bad news in the world. You can be sad for one day, and tomorrow is another day. You still need to be motivated to work hard and live hard for the next day. We need to think of ways to come up with solutions to all the challenges, to all the imperfect things, to be the honey badger in your life. This, I think, is the essence of education. Being you, not being Jack Ma. and don't imitate anybody. Just be yourself. That's very important. So in the business card, maybe you want to write Jack Ma, teacher, that's all. Is that the case? You want to go back to the things that you started with. Education is about future, and it's about those who are educated, about their future. I still remember that in previous occasions you said that we need to look at the future with awe and respect. This is the right attitude. So we're standing from where we are now. What kind of preparations you've been doing for entrepreneurs, for enterprises, for yourself, for the time?
Talking about the future, we should give high attention to it, especially get prepared for the third or the so-called fourth industrial technological revolution. I believe such a revolution of the internet will be very fast in its pace, have a great change to all the business sectors and individuals. If you cannot properly handle the industrial revolution, may lead to a consequence of the social revolution. This is the responsibility of every one of us here to make everybody get adaptive to the revolution, so that the kids are enabled to respond to the future challenges. Actually, the battle is started. Many people is fearing losing their jobs because of technology or AI. So many fears on their mind. I believe that fears make you feel more depressed. We need to stand right in front of the challenge is the right way to do it. First of all, we need to develop education, do more things for public good. And in Alibaba Group, it's not possible for me to get away from it. And I will keep communicating with the Alibaba Group staff, and more importantly, I need some time for my happy things. You know that I can't. Even though I know that in education I feel very happy, and for the public goods I like it, and I want to go to Africa and also want to protect the environment. But also there are more interesting things in my mind. Well. And you know, it's like you are really aroused our curiosity. So please pick the top thing you want to do among so many things. Probably I will make my own wine. I believe wine is culture. You know, the wine in China is people just want to drink more, but instead of tasting, try to taste the wine. We need to taste it. Not long ago, I was in Multi Group. The chairman of Multi said that the young people don't drink Multi, which is baijiu or the white liquor. They drink something else. I said that no, don't worry about it. When they are 45 years old, they will come back to you. After death and survival, and after suffering and happiness, they will know it. You know, French wine are romantic, and also the Swiss wine are also special. We need to taste all kinds of wines, and also the yellow wine from Shaoxing is also very good. And you know, in Sweden, the news make me feel very frustrated. You know, China is complicated. You know, 100 million people going out to the other countries, the politeness, the manners, and we need to talk about it with the Westerners. You know, the Chinese kids seldom say thank you, excuse me, or sorry, or please. We need to pick up our manners. Otherwise, the conflict between China and the rest of the world will on the rise. We will have more conflicts and frictions. I believe that by instead of educating or propaganda, we need to incorporate that into something interesting and try to educate how to pick up it. And well, China is at a critical moment in facing to the future. This year is the 40th anniversary of China's reformed opening up. China has a deeper integration with the world, with more dialogue between China and the rest of the world. Well, in your view, what is the value brought by China to the world, and what are the value brought by the world to China? Well, to me, any nation, any country has something special, exclusive to itself. So I'm sitting in my home, looking at the world. You know, it's not possible to have a very right outlook on the world. Before I went to Africa, I believe Africa is a is a less developed place with poverty. But when I was there, I feel a lot. It's kind of imagination before you were there. You read about it from the media, from the news. If there is a bias of the media, you know that your decision is not right. I believe that going out, you need to look at the world only by showing respect to the ethnic groups and the cultures. Your life will become more interesting. And you know that there is difference between cultures. The Westerners are very straightforward. In the Bible, it is very clear. You follow the words of the God. It's just like a very good quality sales guidebook. But China is quite different. And we focus on the, we have differences in the opinions and difficult to understanding subjective things. But you know that China emphasizes on harmony. Harmony gives you fortune. But in Western culture, competition makes you better. Without communication and respect or appreciating others, you only have troubles and conflicts on your hands. You know that in China, you have your motivation and different ideas behind what you say. You know, between Chinese, we can talk about it, you know. These are two different cultures. We talk about it. Only when you go to different countries, you listen to others, we are saying the same thing, but we do things in a different manner. And we need more dialogue like this, forum like this. We need to see more. Seemingly, it's not useful today. After 3 days, you learn nothing. But some kind of ideological change and will have a big impact on you and on your kids, I believe. China, of course, will bring value to the world. And also, we need to use an international language, accepted language to talk to the world. Also, the Westerners need to know China focuses on wisdom, but the Western world focuses on knowledge. This is the knowledge. This is knowledge. This is wisdom. So this is the combination of the heart and mind. Thank you. Thank you, Jack Ma. Well, I think our time is up. We only have the last question. As we can see, Feng Qing. And probably Feng Qingyang is living away from this from the Jianghu or from the market, and of course we will still have the stories of him. And when we are still calling upon to meet with Feng Qingyang, and what do you want to say to him? Well, we always have the word, and we have a lot of heroes coming up in it. And it's not the world is changing, but your capabilities are not improved. And in the world of rivers and lakes and competitions, everyone's capability are making progress. Without progress, you cannot survive. The most important thing in it is that you come up with all kinds of good things and rivals and chances and coincidence. Therefore, when I am away from the business, but I keep my attention on it, I'm part of it, I will do something else. In other sectors, I also find it highly interesting. I believe that those you can have some psychological preparation. Sometimes we miss you, even though you're away, and it is also very feeling. No matter it's a glamour when you show up, or it's kind of a graceful manner when you leave the stage, and it's kind of in the world is something impression. It's an impression we will leave in our memory, and we give our blessings to you. And the last thing we have a nice time dialogue. We have a nice communication between you and me after 1 year. When you really get retired, we hope we can have a tense dialogue. At that time, we could see a more and better Mr. Feng Qingyang or Jack Ma. Thank you. Thank you so much.